Apologies for the delay. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. Obviously, a lot of interest lately on how Google's two computing platforms, consumer computing platforms, Chrome OS and Android, could come together. It's been a lot of speculation on that and a lot of discussion about that. The approach we've taken generally is to take the best attribute of each and share it with the other. So for instance, yesterday at the keynote, we talked about how updates on Android will use similar technology to how Chrome OS updates work. And today we wanted to talk about a technology in the opposite direction and give you a bunch of demos and leave room hopefully for Q&A. So I'm going to be very brief here and actually introduce Can, Director of Product Management for Chrome OS, to update you on our latest technology.
Thanks, Hiroshi. And good morning, everyone. Most of us use our laptops every day. And many of us use them hours at a time. We use our laptops whenever we want to be creative or productive. Whether it's researching a family vacation, or building the next killer app, or just comparison shopping to find a new laptop. Having the speed of a keyboard, the precision of a mouse pointer, and the multitasking capabilities of a large screen can be extremely useful in these kind of situations. But for many years, laptops and computers in general were really hard to use. They were slow, and they got slower the longer you used them. They were insecure, they were never up to date, and worst of all, not everyone could afford one, at least not a good one. So 5 years ago, we set out to rethink the computer and make computing a lot more accessible for everyone. This meant building an operating system that was fast, secure, and simple, but most importantly, focused on helping users get their everyday stuff done. And that's how Chromebooks were born. They're fast to start up, easy to set up, simple to use, and designed to be secure. They're also always up to date, and they get better with every update. Chromebooks are also incredibly easy to manage and share. And these attributes and values have really resonated with our users and has led to continued momentum in Chromebooks. In fact, today, all the top computer makers are building and selling Chromebooks, like Lenovo, Dell, HP, Samsung, and many, many more. In the education market, Chromebooks are now outselling all other devices combined. And we're also seeing strong growth from enterprise, where Chromebooks, Chromebox for meetings, and other purpose-built Chrome devices have been adopted by large companies like Whirlpool, Toyota, Pinterest, and many more. And of course, consumer demand has been as strong as ever. In fact, according to IDC, in Q1 of this year, Chromebook shipments overtook Macs in the US. So what that means is, thanks to your support, Chrome OS is now the #2 most popular PC operating system in the US. We're incredibly humbled and excited about this, but this is really just a reflection of how well Chromebooks have fit the needs and use cases of what people are looking for. So that's how things have unfolded over the last 5 years. But in that time, the way people use computing has also changed a lot. In particular, apps, both iOS and Android, have become a huge part of our personal computing experience. Whether it's checking the weather app for your barbecue, consuming the latest snaps on Snapchat, or just sending your favorite track to your Sonos system, apps have become a central part of our everyday lives. So we wanted to make Chromebooks even better by combining these experiences and use cases with what people already love about Chromebooks. This means bringing together the breadth and versatility of the millions of apps in the Play Store with the speed, simplicity, and security of a Chromebook. So that's why today, we're announcing, you may have already heard, we're bringing the Play Store to Chromebooks. So this means you'll now be able to access all your favorite Android apps and games, not just on a phone or a tablet, but also on a laptop running Chrome OS. So your Chromebook now will have the world's most popular and powerful browser and the world's most popular app store, enabling multitasking productivity apps like Adobe Lightroom, Photoshop, Office, Skype, plus all the games you've already come to love, like Clash of Clans, Hearthstone, Need for Speed, and many more, all on one device. This also means you'll now have access to apps and experiences that you never had access to on a PC before, like Snapchat, for example, or our YouTube for Kids app. So this means, and I'm not saying you should do this, but you can actually write your term paper and get your snaps all on the same device without ever having to take your phone out of your pocket. So I'm here with Katie Roberts-Hoffman, one of the product managers on the Chromebook team, and we're going to show you how this all works. All right, so let's switch over now to the demo machine. One of the first things you'll notice is this looks a lot like Chrome OS, and that's because it is. It's the same Chrome OS our users have come to love. It's fast, it's simple, it's secure. But one of the big changes, for those of you with a sharp eye, you may have already noticed this, there's now a Play Store icon pinned to the bottom shelf. So let's go ahead and open up that icon, and here you have the entire Play Store. You'll be able to browse through it as you would on any other Android device, and you can install any app that you want. In fact, let's try installing this Bejeweled Stars app. This looks like a pretty fun app. So let's go ahead and start the installation process. And there you go. It's installing. So now, while this is installing, one of the things I want to talk to you about is how seamlessly we've integrated Android framework into Chrome OS. So things like, for example, she just showed you the notifications center, but Android notifications will seamlessly open up in the notification center as well. So all of this is seamlessly integrated together. One of the things I've been meaning to do recently that my wife keeps reminding me about is building a poster for my daughter's 3rd birthday. And so I'm going to take an example here and actually show you how I'm going to do this on a Chromebook now. So to give you a little background, my wife, my daughter's favorite activities and favorite things in the world are, 1 is Piglet, and 2 is ice cream. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a photo of my daughter with both Piglet and ice cream. So I need to create one first. Wouldn't it be great if I could Photoshop a photo like that? So I've actually got Photoshop Mix already installed on this device from the Play Store. So I'm going to open that up. And here I've already got loaded a photo of my daughter with Piglet from our last vacation. She's actually trying to feed Piglet a pen right now. Let's see if we can add a photo of ice cream instead. So let's go ahead and click the plus button. It turns out Adobe Stock has some great photos in it. In fact, they've got a really great one of Neapolitan ice cream cone, which, by the way, is a really great dessert that starts with the letter N, in case anybody's looking for something to vote. So it's a little out of proportion, but that's okay. So she has a touch screen here, so she's going to use her fingers to actually rotate and put the ice cream cone and resize it to just the right place. So this looks pretty good, but it still doesn't look quite right because the ice cream cone is actually sitting on top of her hand. So let's go ahead and cut out the part of the cone that's overlapping so it looks more like she's holding it. So go ahead and zoom in. Again, she's using her hand here to manipulate directly, and it's just really easy with your finger just to cut out exactly the portion of the photo that's overlapping. So we've done this with multiple layers. With her hand, it's just really easy on a Chromebook. And now all of a sudden, we've got a great image. But I'm going to save this now so I can import this into the poster I'm actually working on in Word. So let's go ahead and save it. It's saved. Let's go ahead and close that out. And now switch over to Office, where I've already got the poster loaded, but it's missing the photo. So let's go ahead and click Insert, Pictures, and let's select the photo that we just created. And there you go. I think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and share this with my wife And it's pretty easy on a Chromebook now. All you have to do is click the share button, send us an attachment, file type, Gmail, and just like that, the Gmail app automatically pops up with the document already attached, and all I have to do is type the email address and hit send. And that's because of the way that we've sort of seamlessly integrated the Android Intent system into Chrome OS. So it's the exact same experience you already have on your phone, simple flow that you already have on your phone or a tablet. So another really compelling and great feature of Android apps is that they work really well offline. For example, if you're on an airplane without Wi-Fi, you can still edit your photos, you can still play your favorite playlists, you can still type up a document or watch or play movie. All that stuff just works seamlessly on Android devices and Android apps. So here we've got another demo machine set up, and if you look at the right corner here, you'll see that it's completely disconnected, completely without Wi-Fi. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you another one of my favorite games, which is Galaxy on Fire 2. So this app is awesome. It's super smooth from a graphics perspective. It allows her to actually use the touchscreen controls to go ahead and fly around. And because it's on a laptop, it's using the desktop class hardware as well. So this experience is actually pretty great. Maybe one of the things we can do is actually switch over to the Play Movies app. So I can show you how I can watch a real movie. So I've got the Play Movies app open here. And again, because we're completely offline, apps like Play Movies just work. And it's just showing me all the movies that I've already downloaded. It turns out I'm a big Kung Fu Panda fan, but I actually haven't had time with everything going on to catch up on the latest Kung Fu Panda 3. So why don't we go ahead and click Kung Fu Panda 3 and play it. And click play. And there it goes. I can now watch my movie completely offline without ever having any internet connection. So this isn't, obviously just true for Play Movies, but it's also true for things like your Play Music, your Play Books, for Google Photos, which happens to be a really great app that works completely offline. So you can sync all your photos and be able to view them on an airplane. And now all these apps and experiences work completely offline on a Chromebook as well. So thanks, Katie. That was just a small glimpse of some of the cool new things you'll be able to do on a Chromebook. And we're super excited about this. But since this is I/O, let's geek out for a moment and actually tell you guys about how we did this. So we've been working very closely and side by side with the Android team to make both Chromebooks and Android better. For example, as Hiroshi mentioned earlier, we've actually brought the Chrome OS AB update system to Android N. While we were doing this, we realized that we can use the Linux container, which is actually a really popular technology that's used in data centers around the world, and Google actually uses in our own cloud infrastructure today, to bring an Android framework on top of the existing Chrome OS stack. So this allows us to bring together the best of both worlds. For example, in addition to Android security features like SC Linux, the container also provides a secure and isolated runtime environment. And all of this is built on top of the security foundations of existing Chrome OS, such as verified boot, user data encryption, continuous updates every 6 weeks. And this isn't just for the Chrome OS side, but also for the Android framework as well. So that means all these apps will be running on the latest stack with the latest security patches and the latest APIs. And this container is actually integrated completely with the Chrome OS system services like input-output, graphics, connectivity. We've basically built an Android hardware abstraction layer, and we've put the Android framework on top of it. This enables us to run the full Android framework natively, and that's how we can ensure Android apps can run full speed with no overhead and no performance penalties from emulation or virtual machines. This also means that Chromebooks are now fully compatible with any Android app. Of course, like all Android devices, regardless of whether it's a phone, tablet, or a laptop, the Google Play Store will allow installation of apps based on the hardware components on these devices. So for example, a phone dialer app may require cellular capabilities in order to install. So with Play Store coming to Chromebooks, we've been working with our partners to ship more and more devices that will have the hardware components to support more of these use cases and apps that users want to install on their computers. And because of the increased value that users are now getting, our partners are also shipping more premium devices, like some of these from Dell, HP, and Lenovo that have already come out recently. And finally, the Play Store and Android apps will work regardless of the SoC platform on the device. This means it'll support both ARM and Intel platforms. In fact, today's demos will run both on an ARM device and an Intel device. So next, I'm actually going to bring up my friend and colleague, Rajan, who leads the Chrome OS and Android education and enterprise teams to give you a little bit more insight and talk about the implications of having the Play Store on Chromebooks for both enterprise and education.
Thank you, Ken. And with enterprise and education, we talked a little bit about how Chromebooks have been a great success in education. But really, to take a step back, the reason for this is that there are two big trends happening in enterprise and education. The first is more and more companies and schools are moving to the cloud. What seemed kind of heretical 10 years ago is actually now becoming mainstream. And so we see the Chromebook as a great way for businesses and schools to take advantage of that. But the other big thing is that businesses and schools want to bring computing to more of their users, more of their employees, more of their students, and actually transform their organizations by doing so. So we've seen this in schools first. That's the first place that this has happened. So as an example, we have about 50 million students that are using Google Apps for Education on an active basis. And there are many other cloud-based applications, things like Khan Academy, things like BrainPop, that are being used throughout schools to really transform education. But the thing that schools told us about 5 years ago was, this is all great, but it's not great. It doesn't let us change our curriculum unless we're able to get computing out to more of our students on a daily basis. Chromebooks fit that need extremely well. They were easy to use, easy to manage, easy to share, and also very affordable. And so schools really gravitated to Chromebooks as the way that they could bring productive tools to their students and actually change how they teach. As Ken mentioned, last year, a majority of the devices that went out into schools in the United States were Chromebooks. But more importantly, it's actually changed how those schools teach. Schools can actually move more towards individualized education and blended learning, concepts that actually make it so that students learn better. And that's the thing that we're most proud of. We're now seeing that same trend happen in business. Over 2 million businesses are using Google Apps for Work. But in addition to that, there are many other cloud-based applications that businesses are migrating to. And so the Chromebook, again, is a perfect fit for that kind of environment. But also, what we're also hearing from our customers is that there are many employees that they want to give access of computing to. As an example, there are 3.2 billion people walking into a workplace in the world today. However, there are only about 750 million PCs in businesses today. So there are many, many users that don't have any access to computing, and we want to change that. We've already seen this happen with Chromebooks, for example, in retail stores, where they're enabling all of their employees to have access to computing and changing their processes as well. We've seen this happen in places like hotels and restaurants and manufacturing plants as well. We've invested very heavily over the course of the last couple of years to really make Chromebooks fit well in the enterprise. We've invested in making sure that we integrate with enterprise infrastructure so it really fits in well with what businesses have today. We've also worked with our partners like HP, Lenovo, Dell, Acer, and ASUS to have enterprise-specific Chromebooks that really meet the needs of business users. But the one big thing that was still missing is app compatibility. Can I do the kinds of things that I need to do on this device? And this is where we think having Android apps on the Chromebook will be transformational. Now, businesses can use all of the key apps that they typically use, whether it's things like QuickBooks or Office or Skype or many, many others that are now available in the Play Store. But in addition to that, they can use them offline. Students can start to use a lot of the learning tools that are available on Android and actually bring touch-based applications to students, for example, in lower grades. And so we think that this can actually transform really how businesses approach computing once again. So with that, I'll bring Ken back on to round out the session.
Great. Thanks, Rajan. So we think all of this is really great for our users, but we also believe this is going to be really great for developers too. If your app runs on an Android device today, it will now be able to run on a Chromebook too. So with the same Android framework and platform you're used to, you'll be able to bring your existing apps to a whole new category of devices and form factors. And that opens up all kinds of new possibilities. As a developer, you can now create new experiences for trackpads, keyboards, larger screens, multiple windows. It also means new business models. Desktop software can oftentimes be priced in the hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars. And that's because we can be more productive or more creative on our laptops. We can create a movie, we can design a whole house, or we can write our PhD thesis. So when is all this actually coming to Chromebooks? Google Play will start rolling out in the next Chrome Dev Channel, M53. It'll be available on select devices first, with many more devices to follow soon after. We hope this will be a great way for developers to start testing their existing apps on Chromebooks, and even start creating new experiences for this form factor so that they'll be ready when we start rolling this out to users later this year, along with new hardware that has been designed with the Play Store in mind. So, as we've always said, Chromebooks have always been about making computing more accessible for everyone. And by bringing together the best of Android and Chrome OS, we believe we're making a big leap forward. Because not only are we addressing many of the use cases and needs that people have with their Chromebooks today, but we're also betting on the millions of Android developers that are out there innovating every day to create new experiences, and experiences that have never even been possible on a PC platform before. So this is just the beginning. And we're super excited to see what the future holds for everyone. So thank you all for coming. And now I'm going to actually bring up a few members of the team and open it up to press Q&A. Thank you.